Part 364. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3631. Forward. Deputy Palace Master, why are you asking this? Could it be, cough? Do you still want to reenact the classic? Fang Fan said with a complicated face. This cheap father-in-law seems to be a bit old-fashioned. At that time, Fang Fan was kissed by the goddess Athena because he had no choice but to do so. At that time, Fang Fan had no choice but to control his body. To put it bluntly, it is actually being passively controlled. In this case, Fang Fan was actually kissed forcibly. In this way, it has little to do with Fang Fan's original intention. He still seemed normal. As for the rest, there are a lot of things involved. Like now, if Shui Wanren wants to gain the favor of a certain goddess in some way, even kisses and hugs, it is actually to satisfy some evil taste of his own. For a while, I always feel a little shameless and despicable. What's the matter? As far as which kind of taste feels in place, I can't grasp it for a while. Tisk. Deputy Palace Master, you're a bit overwhelmed. Could it be that you are still obsessed with that Cupid? Could it be that you still want His Majesty the God of Love to respond to your rude behavior? You bad old man is very bad. Do you think it's so easy to be kissed by the goddess? My apprentice is a dragon and a phoenix among human beings, and he is not an ordinary person, so it's fine if he can do these things, it's all normal. Can we find a mirror to look at ourselves? Don't know anything at the time. It's a bad old man, and he still wants to engage in those fancy things. Uncle G curled his lips, and then dissed crazily from the side. Shui Wanren's face darkened. At this moment, it seems a bit embarrassing. What I said, inexplicably has an extreme feeling that I can't turn over. This wave is too difficult. My brain is buzzing. That's it? What else? The state of mind can follow a complete collapse. I'm just asking. Grand Uncle G. Don't give me an account. Shui Wanren couldn't help but started blowing his beard and staring. Since you insist on investigating, go ahead. However, there is one thing that must be paid attention to. Be sure to pay attention to safety. Don't mess with those who have nothing. If you feel that the situation is not right, come back quickly. It's all right, no one will blame you. Whatever happened, I will bear it for you. If anyone wants to trouble you, let him come to me first. Snort. As long as you don't want to, let alone the order of the Commander-in-Chief of the First-Class Saint, even if it is the Pope's will, it is not impossible to violate it. If you go over this time, you must ensure safety. Shui Wanren gritted his teeth, and couldn't help giving instructions to the side, for fear that there would be the slightest deviation. At this moment, his brows were furrowed, and his face still showed a look of worry. Some things are really hard to grasp. How it will evolve by then is unknown. This wave is a bit difficult. Husband, I want to follow you. You don't take me with you every time you go out. I can protect myself. After all, I'm still your senior sister. You little boy can hang around outside every day, why do you have to keep me like a vase? Snort. This is discrimination. This is unfair. This way, I've had enough. It can't go on like this. It has to change. Concubine Xiang gritted her silver teeth, her face showed determination, what she said was justified. Fang Fan opened his mouth, with a complicated look on his face. It's not his business. Too difficult. I need to tell your father about this. Cough. See if he would like you to follow me out to investigate the enemy's situation. Fang Fan shrugged and said directly. In fact, from Fang Fan's point of view, he naturally doesn't want concubine Xiang to be threatened outside. Relatively speaking, it is safest to stay in the city now. In any case, there is still a care for each other in the city. If you go outside the city, you don't know what will happen. At that time, any possibility will happen. If Fang Fan is negligent for a while, he may regret it for life. Father, I want to go with my husband. Concubine Xiang turned her head and looked at Shui Wanren, with a stubborn face at the moment. The corner of Shui Wanren's mouth twitched. At this moment, he couldn't help but glared at Fang Fan. This bastard likes to leave this kind of matter to him. There's a lot of bells and whistles. This is obviously something that offends people. This kid is such a chicken thief. Shui Wanren's eyes flickered, and his expression seemed a bit complicated. Xiangfei, you really can't go. Don't say you can protect yourself. What cultivation base do you have? Don't you have any points in your heart? You're not even a saint, you still want to go wandering. Anyone from the Protoss can beat you. Stop being willful. Fang Fan's mission this time is quite difficult. Some problems may arise at that time. Don't keep mixing and mixing here. Did you hear what I said? Be obedient. You must be obedient. You have to know that even if you go out to perform missions with Fang Fan when your cultivation base has not improved, you are not helping him, but cheating him. Why? After all, he will have to take care of you when the time comes. Are you happy with him? Xiangfei, you have to think carefully. Shui Wanren's mouth is still very easy to use. Hey, he can basically talk about the core points. After saying some key points at this moment, everyone who understands will naturally understand. These words are in place. Xiangfei bit her red lips, although she was unwilling, but she didn't want to hurt Fang Fan, so she could only retreat sadly. I am the Saint Realm, I can go. Uncle. You have no reason to prevaricate me this time. I am a high-ranking saint. If I go, I can help Fang Fan hold on. If you really encounter some trouble, you can resist it in time. Chu Cixi spread her hands and said calmly. This. Cixi, you'd better, don't go. Although you are a high-level saint, you don't have much combat experience after all. There are too many powerful saints in the Protoss. If you meet someone who will hold you back, then things will be really big. It's better to stay in the city. It's convenient for me to take care of it, and it's more convenient. Shui Wanren nodded and said immediately. This is said from a security point of view. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3632. Uncle. You're doing this again. I'm already in the high-level saint realm, do I still have to be sheltered under your wings? Then how can I spread my wings and fly high? If you can't stand on your own after reaching the saint venerable realm, how far can you be independent? Could it be that only by achieving the position of the true God can you be safe and sound? Uncle, I'll be by my husband's side, I'm sure I'll be fine. My husband is a cunning rabbit with 3 caves. Chu Cixi raised her eyebrows, and while talking, she immediately moved to Fang Fan's side, with a heartfelt smile on her face. I feel inexplicably comfortable in my heart. The whole person also slowly became smug. Why? Forget it. It's good for you to have someone to take care of you together. So be it. I won't say much, just pay attention to your own safety. Shui Wanren opened his mouth, feeling inexplicably bitter at the moment, with a lot of thoughts, but he didn't say much, everything was kept silent. Soon, the 100 scouts arranged by Commander Wang, the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, Wang, were also in place. Them. Can you also be called a scout? The moment Fang Fan saw these people, he was speechless. Scouts are responsible for spying on intelligence, running thousands of miles to spy on enemy camps and spying on military aircraft, etc. Generally speaking, they are performed by the elite of the army. Ordinary people, how can they have such capital? This time to investigate the Protoss, not to mention sending some elite scouts over, at least they should be ordinary ones. You can't be so perfunctory, can you? Fang Fan opened his mouth, then glanced numbly in front of him, and sighed silently. A wave, directly numb. I don't want to say more. All are old and weak. Either he is very old, or he is a recruit who has just joined the army at a glance. In addition, some missing arms and legs were also sent over. Too much deceit. Asshole. What the hell are these? CAOG. You call this a scout? What does your scout look like? Uncle G suddenly became sullen, and looked at CAOG who was not far away. He brought these scouts here. To be able to pick out so many extreme old, weak, sick and disabled in a huge army is indeed somewhat capable. In fact, if you engage in such a small trick at this time, it can only show the stupidity of the CAOG. Because in this way, it will completely bring more rhetoric to others. Just like now, Tai Shuja can continue to make trouble, and in the end, the task of spying on the Protoss may just be nothing. After feeling the rhythm in all aspects, it will naturally become clear. What are you going to do? 2. Uncle G, I warn you not to mess around, and don't always threaten me. I am Wang Saint's person. These scouts are also, all carefully selected by Wang Saint. Gudong. Don't be impulsive, impulse is the devil. CAOG originally wanted to pretend to be a tiger, but for some reason, when he saw his Uncle G approaching, he kept panicking. At this moment, his body was trembling, and his eyes were flickering. I have been beaten too many times, leaving some shadows in my heart. This wave is indeed a bit difficult. When you lose your mind, there's nothing left. Oh shit. So. Carefully selected, is this the thing? What a fool. I'll beat you to death. Grass. Tai Shuja's fiery temper has come up, and he will go straight up and do it. CAOG just dared to say a few words. If he really did it with real swords and guns, he would immediately follow suit. At this moment, the forehead was covered with cold sweat, and naturally started to flee crazily. If this is caught, he will be killed in minutes. Can't hold it? Tai Shuja, who was in a rage, didn't know how to strike. The commotion here was a bit big, and it naturally attracted the interesting eyes of many people who eat melons. Immediately after the cause and effect of this incident were leaked out, the expressions of everyone changed completely. As long as you are not a fool, you can clearly see that this is CAOG's cooperation with that first-class Saint Wang to make trouble. Hey, this Lord Wang Saint is still the president of our light camp. How could he do such a despicable thing? Does he have any grudges with that Fang Fan? Why do you want to deal with it to death? Really, as for this. I don't understand, I really don't understand. Oh. It's right if you don't understand, these high-ranking people only have themselves in their hearts. I remember that when the goddess Athena bestowed blessings on Fang Fan, the holy Wang seemed to come forward several times to punish Fang Fan, but was repelled by the phantom crowned by the goddess. At that time, I remembered that Wang the saint was also injured. Could it be because of this? Stable. It's almost like this. Is it because of envy and hatred? Well, I understand everything. It's too real. Heh. What qualifications does such a narrow-minded person have to be the president of our light camp? Hey, His Holiness the Pope didn't know what he thought at the beginning. Did you see that? Because of that incident, Saint Wang hated Fang Fan, and then asked him to lead the team to investigate the intelligence of the Protoss. They all knew that the death rate of scouts was the highest, and they specially dispatched a group of old and weak to him. The sick and disabled came over and asked him to lead the team to go to investigate. Lord laughed. This is the scout team. The humming cannon fodder team is better than this. It's also hard work for that Wang Saint, who actually selected so many wonderful scouts in his busy schedule. Grass, disgusting. Live. It will be a miserable scene, you should know. Huh, I almost forgot about this stubble. Steady, steady, must be steady, don't wander. Meeting such a commander-in-chief, I will be miserable for 8 lifetimes. Everyone's mind seemed somewhat heavy. There are thousands of thoughts, and for a while, it seems quite lively. Everyone just showed the most true thoughts in their hearts, and everyone who understands will naturally understand. Those who don't understand can only feel silently on the sidelines. For a while, because of this incident, the reputation of Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Light Alliance, was directly stink. Everyone can't help but feel a sense of sadness when the rabbit dies. I'm afraid that when this kind of thing will happen to me again. It's not about how strong a sense of justice is, it's just about expressing some feelings in a realistic way. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3633. Things that are not enough to succeed are more than nothing to fail. Asshole. You actually found such a group of old, weak, sick, and disabled by sneaking behind my back. Asshole. It's superfluous. Isn't this letting others poke my spine? The blow to the prestige of this commander is too great. CAOG. Trash. In a dark corner, Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, silently clenched his fists, with resentment on his face. But at this time, he can't directly stand up to win people's hearts. Everyone is not a fool. If you stand up now, it will only make people think you are hypocritical, and it will be even worse when the time comes. At this moment, you need to stay silently on the spot, and then slowly plan. At this moment, CAOG was beaten again. A face became a pig's head again. Naturally, his heart was full of resentment. But so what? I can only bear it silently, continue to bear it. A sense of bitterness surged all over the body. If you are beaten, it will be painful, not a big problem. But he gradually found that Tai Shuja's gaze was not quite right. This is the rhythm to kill him. ICAO. If he was beaten to death under such circumstances, he would really die unjustly. How should I put it? It can be said that this F***ck is the reason why he died because of his own crime. Others, there is nothing to say at all. Everything will come to an end. No. Don't want. No. Can't. Please, don't kill me. I just follow orders, I'm just a little guy. This order was issued by the Saint Wang. If you're upset, go find him. What's the use of looking for me? Woo 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 woo. The sound of crying and mourning gathered in an all-round way, and the state of mind was surging to the extreme. CAOG's whole heart was numb at the moment. At the moment, he could only stare numbly in front of him, wanting to say something, but many words were blocked again. This feeling made him feel very anxious and uncomfortable. He just wants to live. Being alive, why is it so hard? If you continue to work out these moths, will you feel comfortable in your heart? Have a good time? There's a lot of bells and whistles. The more I thought about it, the more chaotic it became, and my thoughts gradually burst out. Master Saint. Lord Saint. Woo, woo. Come out and save me. I'm dying. I always follow your orders. Master Saint, I know you are nearby. Come out and save me. Master Saint, there are still many secrets between us. Caog couldn't care less now. Anyway, now is to blow people out. Live. He just wants to live now. To live is to have hope, to live to have capital. Otherwise, everything will be in vain. Thousands of thoughts, ideas burst, the whole person, completely drifting to the extreme. The more I think about it, the more my brain trembles. Wangtu, the first-class saint who was in a dark corner, almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Waste. This trash. Cheering, yelling, what are you shouting about? Hateful. Terrible. Damn stuff. A wave, thoughts burst. Everything is completely broken. If this bastard continues to yell, these people outside don't know what to think of me. Now at this time, I can only bite the bullet and go out. This bastard thing. Hateful. Sooner or later, I will find him to settle accounts. Snort. Damn it. I thought I had an obedient dog, but I didn't expect this dog to bite people. Wangtu's face was gloomy, and then his eyes rolled, and he ran to the side abruptly, and then pretended that he had just arrived here. Who is making noise here? What's the noise? The enemy is now. Do you still have the energy to fight among yourself? With this energy, it's better to fight against the enemy. Wangtu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, held his head high, and gradually pretended to follow suit. While talking at the moment, he pretended to be a bitter man who was deeply concerned about the country and the people. Suddenly, there were bursts of discussions around. Good guy, Saint Wang is really here? Is the timing too coincidental? Tisk, it looks like this, it's a bit gimmicky. This scene is a bit interesting. A direct thrust. Maybe the sage has been spying on him for a long time. Hey, I told you a long time ago, take it easy and don't be too irritable. Now you who complain about the sage Wang may be hated by him. Once there is a scout mission, I am afraid it will be your turn. Grass. This is a saint after all, is it so stupid? Hee, what do you think? Otherwise, it would be like this. There were endless discussions, which became more and more interesting. Everyone roared, overjoyed, wishing they could just break through and do something with them. Wangtu frowned, pretending he didn't hear this. The decency that should be maintained must be maintained. Caog breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Wangtu appear. In his opinion, this Wang saint still pays attention to humaneness, and this wave is here to save himself. He really couldn't hold back. This uncle is too crazy. The punches hit the bones, and the bones in his body were almost broken. As Wangtu's complexion became more and more sinister, Caog felt more and more panicked. Could it be that he still wants to kill himself directly? In order to save his life, Caog couldn't care less about anything else. He's already a castrated wretch. It's all come to this point, if my life is swallowed again. Why? That's even more difficult. With so many thoughts, the whole person became numb immediately. All kinds of pain swept across, and my brain trembled all over. Whom can I tell the taste of it? Can't tell anyone. Chaos. It's messed up. Snort. Uncle G. In front of Lord Wang Saint, do you dare to be presumptuous? Sage Wang has come out to rescue me, do you still want to commit murder in front of Lord Saint? I told you a long time ago, I came here following the orders of Lord Saint. I am a man of Lord Saint. So, don't be ignorant of good and evil. Caog gritted his teeth, and then said arrogantly. He felt that his backing was coming, he felt that he was doing well again, and he felt that he could take off in an all-round way again. Anyway, the state of mind at the moment is very blissful. It's full of bells and whistles, fully displayed in place, that's probably what's going on. Don't know what's good. Ah. You really think of yourself as a human. For a scum like you, if you hit me, you will hit me. Is it possible that Lord Sanctify will punish me for this? Do you really think that Lord Saint is as stupid as you? Boom. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3634. Grand Uncle G sneered, and then threw his fist directly on Caog's nose. Click. The nasal bone was broken, and then the nosebleed followed crazily. For a moment, this picture looks particularly shocking. Look, it's not ordinary. Ah. Ah. My nose, nose. To Uncle G. You madman. Madman. I won't let you go. Damn it. You bastard. The roar shocked the whole world and made everyone tremble for a while. Now pursing his lips, there is no need to say anything else. Numb. The pain was numb on the spot. Caog was full of resentment and anger, and he couldn't release it at all at this moment. The whole person was erratic, and he didn't know what to say. Uncle G let go of Caog. Anyway, it's enough to fight. The key is that his apprentice has hinted that he can come back. Why? Why did you call me back so early? At that time, I really wanted to punch him and forget it. You keep giving me voice. Why? Tai Shuji shrugged and said calmly. At the moment when he was talking, his eyes flickered. Anyway, he looked very casual. When will you be able to hold back your temper a little bit? Wang Tu is here, and you want to kill his dog in front of him. It's fine to take a beating to vent your anger, we still have reason. If it's really killing someone, it's not easy to deal with it. Ah. Actually, that Wang apprentice really expects you to do it. It will be much easier for him to pack it up. You bastard, you almost fell into his trap. Look at how you are a master. Your ability to look at problems is not as good as your apprentice. Shui Wanren immediately analyzed from the side, and couldn't help looking at Fang Fan while speaking, and then nodded with admiration. It is really not easy to control one's emotions and see through this layer. Aren't I too excited? Where can I think so much? Why? Staying here is too useless. Really, I'm extremely irritable. Bound hands and feet. I don't like this feeling. I still like the feeling of opening and closing. Oh shit. Uncle G curled his lips, and then complained from the side. Imprisoning him here always feels very uncomfortable. My whole body is about to split apart. There's a lot of bells and whistles. This taste is really not very pleasant. Fang Fan, what do you think Wang disciple will do later? Shui Wanren narrowed his eyes, and suddenly began to ponder. While speaking at this moment, his eyes flickered, his expression was erratic, and his expression was unpredictable. What can I do? In order to show my sageness, there is a high probability that I will find someone to take the blame. Then it can be said that he knows nothing about this matter. Shift all of this to the temporary workers. Of course it's interesting. I have to say, it's really interesting. It does look different. Just sit back and watch the big show. Wait until the play is over before going out of town. Fang Fan nodded, then smiled silently. Caog quickly flocked to that first-class saint, Wang Tu, with excitement on his face, twinkling eyes, and surging posture. The backer is here, what is there to be afraid of? My heart suddenly became floating. Therefore, the most important thing at this moment is to rely on the backer to take revenge. Blood feud. It must be reported with blood. Master Saint. It's fine if they don't follow your instructions, and beat me like this. Woo, oh, this is the meaning that you didn't take you in your eyes. Master Saint, it doesn't matter if I suffer a little bit of grievance, I'm used to it, and I can bear it. But they can't do the same to you. This group of people is really too hateful. It's just a bunch of bastards. Lord Saint, as the president, you must punish them severely. Otherwise, where is your majesty? This matter must not be left alone. Master Saint. Caog continued to yell, and the more he talked, the more excited he became, and the more he talked, the more excited he was. In a few words, he was trying to provoke the relationship between each other. Grinding my teeth at this moment, my thoughts are bursting out in full force. If he wanted revenge, of course he couldn't do it on his own, and he would be crushed in minutes. How embarrassing will it be? Just stay on the spot, nothing. At that time, the mentality will be surging, the body and mind will be exhausted. That kind of taste is really uncomfortable. Now he just wants to use Wang Tu's hand to suppress everyone in Guangming Academy. Especially that Uncle G. Hateful. Terrible. Now this mentality has already collapsed. This matter must not be left alone. There must be revenge to the end. But even if he wanted revenge, it would definitely not work on his own words. He wants nothing. But now he is the dog's leg of the first-class Saint Wangtu. With the help of such a general, he can naturally rise up in an all-round way. Caog thought about this, and then his expression became more and more excited. Snapped. A loud slap sounded, and the surrounding scene trembled instantly. For a moment, the audience was stunned. What rhythm is this? Good guy, are you so excited now? After the loud slap was over, Caog's body writhed in the air for a week, and then fell limp on the ground. At this moment, his body trembled violently, and his eyes revealed endless horror. Difficult to reach the blue sky. Mental collapse, and who to tell? He subconsciously stroked his gradually swelling cheeks, his expression changed abruptly. Why? Lord Saint, I didn't do anything wrong. Lord Saint, I am conscientious. Lord Saint, my loyalty is boundless. Master Saint. Caog's voice gradually became sharper. He doesn't know what's going on now, his voice seems strange. Sounds uncomfortable. Once excited, Caog's body will heat up. Coupled with the hot feeling from his face sweeping his whole body, Caog felt uncomfortable all over. It's festering again. Ah! Caog gritted his teeth and couldn't help scratching his lower body. Suddenly, a familiar stench spread around. Wang Tu. Gas me again? I'm done. I shouldn't have accepted such a dog leg in the first place, isn't this just making myself suffer? Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3635. Shut up. Which round do you have to intervene here? How dare you persecute a student like Fang Fan who is blessed by the true God? Who gave your dog gall? Because I got the oracle and warning from the true God, let me hone Fang Fan's student more, so that he can grow and become a talent at a faster pace, so this saint will issue a commanding order to let Fang Fan's student lead the scout team is investigating the enemy camp ahead. Besides, I have told you several times that you must be accompanied by the most elite scout team, and you must protect the safety of Fang Fan's students. Compared to completing the task, this is the most important thing. How many times have I said this? You bastard, you can't explain it, can you? Fancy bells and whistles. You're an asshole. What the hell is it? You bastard, you just do this to vent your personal grievances. Look at what the scouts you recruited are all about. You still have the nerve to shout here. Those other people don't know, they thought it was the saint who ordered you to do this. Snapped. Clap clap. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, gritted his teeth and showed his posture in place. The more he talked, the more excited he became, and the more he talked, the sharper the gleam in his eyes became. Others, needless to say, just stay steady. Mentally, fully gathered. For a moment, Caog was stunned. Now he is dumb and eats coptis, and he can't speak. Now it seems that all the responsibility will be his. You have no responsibility at all? Is that what you mean? Dog things, bastards. Hateful. Caog was panting heavily, and his face gradually became vicious at this moment. Anyway, I feel quite uncomfortable in my heart. If he really pissed him off, it would be a big deal to kill him. Make yourself look like a white lotus. Are you? Do you deserve it? Caog looked unhappy. There's a lot of bells and whistles. Just go up and beat. The resentment in my heart gradually increased. Caog really wanted to expose everything. But after thinking about it, he still stabilized. It's not yet time. Hold on, hold on. Otherwise, something will happen later. The Saint Wang didn't come directly to abolish him, which shows that there is still hope for each other. It's just that in front of outsiders, he needs to take the blame for Wang Saint. But at least, you can save your life. Most importantly, he has no choice now. I can only compromise. Although it is a bit difficult, this is life. Mentality, collapsed on the spot. Difficult to go to the blue sky? Tell someone more. Keep going. That's it? That's it? It's the same old. I'm tired of watching this method, why don't you show me? I go. I thought there would be something novel. It's still these. Is it possible? I'm also drunk. It's really gimmicky. I can't stand it any longer, so why not blame a temporary worker? Can't you think of some good tricks? Why? Looking at it really hurts. My brain is buzzing. Bai Piao rolled his eyes, he couldn't stand it now, and the desire to complain was particularly strong when he was speaking. Anyone with a discerning eye can see what's going on. It's just that generally speaking, others don't bother to say much. Anyway, this shit has nothing to do with me, what's the point of you talking so much? Drawing a tiger is not an anti-dog. Do you really think everyone is an idiot? Didn't you see that everyone didn't bother to pay attention? The people who should cooperate with this Wang Saint's performance basically turn a blind eye. It's just because of Wang Tu's special identity, so I don't bother to expose it directly. It's just that this guy doesn't seem to know what to say, and he continues to talk like this. As long as it only aggravates the bad impression in everyone's mind. I really don't know what's going on in my heart. Anyway, it doesn't matter to us, just watch the show at that time. This scene looks quite exciting, doesn't it? Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, smiled, his eyes flickered, his expression changed abruptly, and his thoughts were rushing. The more you look at it, the more flavorful it becomes. The whispering below never stopped. Good show. Good show. It's so beautiful. Ha ha ha. Look at that Saint Wang, who performed so vividly. Good guy, this Caog and Wang Sheng are two people singing double reeds. You say each sentence, basically without repetition. It really looks like that, I laughed so hard. No. No, my stomach hurts from laughing, and my tears are about to burst out of laughter. Hey, in my eyes, the saints are the noble existences in the temple, not to mention the first-class saints like Wang Tu, which basically represent the saints of the entire Light Alliance temple. If he is just like this, will other saints still have eyes? SHH, don't talk about this topic, it's boring, It's really meaningless, it will only make us feel uncomfortable. Well, it's true, it's nothing, that's all. People's eyes are sharp. It's up to you to act, but if everyone doesn't act with you, in fact, it should be quite embarrassing to follow along a little bit. The face of Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, is getting darker and darker. Hateful. These bastards. Don't you know how to go along with it? What is the situation now? Do you really have no points in your heart? Just embarrass me like that? The more I think about it, the more depressed I feel. At this moment, the only way to vent out in a fair and honest way is to beat up CAOG in front of him. CAOG is gradually developing in an all-round way in the direction of a pig's head. At this moment, a heart has already collapsed with blood. For those who have nothing, I don't want to say more. Already numb on the spot. Nothing, still playing? Anything fun? CAOG's eyes became very hollow now. It's really hard to be a dog. There is nothing good about these dog men. This messy situation will eventually come to an end. At this moment, everything has changed completely. Even if it is a fight, there is always an end. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, can only bite the bullet and finish the show at this moment. This saint says it again. Provide Fang Fan with the most elite scouts. Did you hear me? If there are any other moths, watch your head carefully. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3636. Image engineering still needs to be done. After the first saint, Wang Tu, came to Fang Fan specially to express his cordial condolences. Fang Fan was numb all the time, anyway, just keep nodding. This kind of drama, just end soon. Chirping, whistling, endless. Student Fang Fan, in the final analysis, we did treat you badly. Don't worry, this kind of thing will never happen again. Why? I also received an oracle from Goddess Athena, saying that I want to hone you well, so I had to make such a bad move. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, started talking nonsense with his eyes open. Master Saint, if you speak nonsense in the name of the true God, you will be punished by God. Uncle G curled his lips, and then said quietly beside him. As soon as the statement came out, the surrounding area immediately became chaotic. Good guy. Dare to say this is a real warrior. Although almost everyone knows that the oracle of Goddess Athena is completely created by Wang Tu to deceive ghosts. But who dares to expose it? Everyone turn your eyes and close your eyes, in fact, that's what happened. It is still very rare to directly pick this matter up as it is now. For a moment, there was unnatural anger in the air, and the scene became very depressing. Feelings take off, ideas rush. Whispering continues. The corner of Wang Tu's mouth twitched subconsciously. At this moment, his heart was naturally sullen to the extreme. Dismantling. Dismantle labor and management? Is that comfortable? If you don't make it easier for me, this saint will never make it easier for you. Do you really think I can do whatever I want? Bastard. The more you think about it, the more messy thoughts you have in your head. Snort. What I've said is the truth. How could the true God send some kind of punishment to me? It's you who think too much. Not at all. The oracle issued to me by Goddess Athena herself. Why would I tell such a lie? If I lied, I will be beaten by the true God. Boom. Rumbling. As soon as Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, finished speaking, thunder gods sounded all around. Click. Click. Several thunderstorms surged around Wangtu, and they exploded just like that. Wangtu stared wide-eyed, with a look of endless horror on his face, and then hurriedly ran away at full speed. This day's thunder only lasted for a minute or two before it was over. The last thunderbolt directly hit Wangtu's body, blowing his hair to pieces. It seemed ridiculous for a while. Such a picture naturally has a strong sense of visual impact. For a while, the crowd is surging, and everyone's eyes are wide-eyed, looking extremely excited. The more you look at this picture, the more excited you become, the more surging you look, the more rhythmic you look. All of a sudden, my thoughts exploded, and I didn't know what to express. Anyway, I feel very refreshed in my heart. I feel so happy. Take off. Take off and explode. The start is full of surges. God's punishment has really come. God's punishment may be late, but it is absolutely impossible to be absent. Ha ha ha. Now that God's punishment is in place, isn't it possible to show from the side that the first-class Saint Wangtu is a liar? There is no so-called oracle under the crown of the goddess Athena instructing him to train Fang Fan. Heh. Such words can only deceive ghosts, who would believe this thing? This is to fool everyone into fools. If you have to pretend, it's fine now. After being punished by God, there is nothing left in this wave. Everything is cool. It can only be said that this is indeed self-inflicted. There's really nothing to talk about with this kind of sand sculpture. Can you blame others for your own sand sculpture? Oh. I laughed. Don't slap your face too fast. 666. I really laughed, I died laughing. There are sand sculptures every year, especially this year, everyone knows. Ha, ah ha 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 ha, the Wang Saint has nothing to say now, right? It's all like this now. SHH, take it easy, we must be careful when we say this Wang Saint is obviously a small-hearted person. If he gets jealous of this, our life will not be so easy in the future. He dares. The bastard tortoise. Where's the guts? Whether someone has the guts or not, it is very necessary to be steady. There were endless discussions and laughter around. There were more and more laughter on the scene. Now this Wangtu Saint can only be said to have lost face. It's too much to add to the snake. Now this wave of divine punishment has directly hit him to the point where he was scorched from the inside out. Everything is established at the moment, and there is no need to say more about the others. Good guy. I just said a few words, unexpectedly, it really came true. Grass. How can it be like this? Your Majesty, Goddess Athena, you are so awesome. Taishaji's eyes widened, thinking to himself at this moment, the gleam in his eyes became more and more intense. Fun and lots of fun. Take off directly. As for that Wang disciple who was standing not far away, his face had already become the bottom of the pot at this moment. He stood where he was, not wanting to speak any more. There was even a trace of fear and uneasiness in his heart. He glanced towards the endless void with a guilty conscience. His thoughts were filled with thoughts, his expression was indifferent, and his thoughts were churning. For a while, he didn't know how to express it. Could it be that the goddess Athena has been staring at the things below? Is this goddess really so idle? Call. It's not right, it's really not right. Good on. If that's the case, wouldn't my previous actions have been known by the goddess? Then my actions all this time, isn't it all firmly controlled by the goddess? If there is really something wrong with that Fang Fan, is it possible that Her Majesty will send divine punishment to kill me directly? No. It can't be like this. It's not what I want, never. Flickering logically, Her Majesty the Goddess shouldn't be so idle. But what happened to the thunder that he suddenly lowered just now? Call. I can't tell, I really can't tell. It's a mess. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, clenched his fists silently, thinking to himself. The gleam in his eyes grew more and more. At this moment, there is nothing but anger and fear in my heart. Compared with the true God, what is he? Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3637. If the true God really wants to obliterate him, wouldn't it be easy? In this way, isn't his little life hanging in the air? The thoughts of the first-class Saint Wangtu became more complicated. In the end, how should I deal with myself? Chaos. Chaos to the extreme. It's all a mess. Anxious. This kid is my nightmare. If I don't kill this Fang Fan, not only will I be embarrassing, but I will also become the laughing stock of everyone, and this will gradually become my demon. This is not good for my future development path. It even hinders my Dao heart and affects my further development. So, of course it's not what I want. So, this Fang Fan can't stay. It must be killed directly. It's just because there is a real God watching all the time, so when doing these things, you need to be extra careful. In the future, we must never show any traces on the bright side. If there is any problem, let CAOG, that trash, come forward to solve it. I don't believe it anymore. With my identity and status, how difficult is it to kill him? Snort. Now, don't think so much. Let's get over the current situation first. On the surface, we can't do anything to this Fang Fan, but in the dark, we can take full-scale actions. It's still unknown what the end will look like in the end. Since you want to die, I will fulfill you. One counts as one, I remember them all, I remember them all. Find an opportunity, liquidate everything. Wangtu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, had a lot of thoughts, and naturally he thought more. At this moment, many images can't help but appear in my mind. Finally, at the end, burst out in an all-round way. Just fry it. Can't take it anymore. Hateful. Naturally, I was very irritable in my heart, but I still had to pretend to be laughing and laughing on the surface. Ha! Why? This is Her Majesty Goddess Athena joking with me. She must think that I made her oracle public, and then blame me. Yes, this is indeed my problem. Hey, I didn't think of this at the time. Everything under the crown of the goddess is my fault. It was my fault. Wangtu, the first-class sage of the Temple of the Light Alliance, held his head high, thought for a while, and then fabricated a righteous statement. This is called a smooth and natural. Those who don't know what happened just now may really laugh like him. But those who have seen the scenes just now, naturally understand that this is completely a sand sculpture like bells and whistles. What I admire the most is the ability of the sage to open his eyes and tell lies. CAO. In this respect, this is definitely a big boss. My God, blow it up. It looks so exciting. Interesting. So much fun. To tell you the truth, I just regard the saint as a clown now. Killing me. I'm going, my stomach hurts from laughing. This is really interesting. Bai Piao covered her belly, while talking, her lips trembled, and her whole body trembled from laughing. This taste is simply not too wonderful. Life is still a lot of fun. That's it, just talk about it later. Don't speak too loudly. Although everyone is talking about it, but the first bird is shot. After all, this is the president of the Light Camp against the God of War clan. Well, the image project still needs to be done. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, kept holding back his laughter, and finally couldn't hold back anymore, and laughed directly. It's really that Wangtu, the first-class saint, is too funny. Everyone understands things, why bother? Make it so fake? It's as if others don't know your virtue. Now it seems that everything about you has been groped and cleared for a long time. There is only you yourself, and I am still doing self-hypnosis as if I saw pity. Wang Tu naturally knew that he had lost face this time, and after saying this embarrassingly, he quickly started to run away. Can't wait any longer for this place. If you stay any longer, your mentality will collapse with blood. My brain trembled, and all words were completely silent. There is nothing else to say about the others. That's it, it's really good. Caog, who was beaten with a bruised nose and a swollen face, saw his backers run away at this moment, so how could he dare to delay at this moment? Revenge. For him now, the opportunity for revenge has long been missed. Even a powerful existence like Wang Tu was beaten to death, let alone other people. At this moment, in the distance, Cao Tang, the city lord of the bright god city, and Cao Man, the young city lord, are also watching. The city lord, Cao Tang, wiped the cold sweat off his kowtow, and then glanced at the endless void in horror. Sure enough, there is indeed a connection. Under normal circumstances, how could the supreme true God take care of us? Heh. This is simply a talk of God's punishment. Even if the Pope wants to obtain the oracle, it is extremely difficult. How does the true God exist? How can I have the time and energy to focus on the lower realm? Unless there is something to worry about in the lower realm. There are indeed too many miracles happening on or around Fang Fan. It's not a coincidence, it's definitely not a coincidence. There is definitely a problem here. I just don't know what went wrong. There must be tricks in this. It's tricky. It seems that my previous speculation is true. This Fang Fan is very likely to be the reincarnation of the true God. I'm terrified when I think about it carefully. I remember that those people from the dark school are also looking for him crazily. The reason is very simple. They say that he did some indescribable things to the starry night goddess of the dark camp. The consciousness of the soul has been confirmed. Obviously, it's all true, it's true. All kinds of ingenuity in it are naturally in full swing. There is definitely a problem here. An ordinary person, of course, even if he is not ordinary, he is the pride of heaven that is hard to see in the lower world, but how dare he be so presumptuous when it comes to the true God? Being presumptuous to the true gods shows that he is not afraid of these true gods at all. In this way, reverse deduction, wouldn't it be more able to prove that he himself is the supreme true God? Thinking about it this time, it really makes sense. True, and clear. Call. It's very real. Invisibly, it took off in an all-round way. It exploded directly. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3638. Intangible brain supplements are the deadliest. Slowly, with a lot of thoughts, the whole person became smug. The more I think about it, the more trembling I get, my thoughts gather here, and there is no need to say more about other things that are there or not. Everyone understands this wave. For the rest, just stay silent. Father. What do you mean? Why do you make it seem like you still want to curry favor with this Fang Fan? Snort. It's too late now. Father. I advise you to give up your heart. What's the situation now? I don't know, can you still not know? We offended Fang Fan to death before. Even if you want to go back and curry favor now, people don't necessarily want to see you. Heh, even if you want to put a hot face on a cold butt, so what? In the end, at most, I won't kill you, and I expect to treat you well. No. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. I think you should stop thinking about it. The sound of complaints was fully in place, and Cao Man, the young city lord beside him, rolled his eyes frantically and said. From his point of view, he is not very satisfied with his father. Oh shit. Looking forward and backward, whatever it looks like, it's annoying to watch. Why don't you understand this thing? Do you have to follow me bullshit? Can we still have a little sense of rhythm? Annoyed, bored, annoyed. Messy feelings gathered in my heart, and gradually, I became numb, and I was nothing. It's really good to just stay here indifferently. What I want is this. I don't expect to get anything from this preparing true God, the most amazing thing is to resolve his hatred towards us. In this way, our wealth and life will be saved. That's all I care about. As for the other ones, it would be best if they could get the blessing and promotion of the true God of preparation. If they don't have this opportunity, I wouldn't feel much pity. I can only say that all of this is my own destiny. Well, there is really nothing to say. Humph. If it weren't for you, a bastard with no eyesight, who kept provoking Fang Fan, why would I be so passive? Say 1,000 words and 10,000 are all the troubles caused by you, a waste. The city lord Cao Teng glanced at his bastard son with disgust, feeling more and more upset in his heart. I don't expect you to be very successful, but can you stop holding me back? Don't you know it's annoying? Cao Man opened his mouth, and wanted to justify himself, but at this moment Cao Teng had strode out, and by the looks of it, he was heading straight towards Fang Fan who was in the distance. Naturally, there was a smile on his face all the time, that posture, that expression, seemed quite friendly, and even had a hint of fawning flattery. Grass. Just sent one away, and another came. Be prepared. This Cao Teng is not a good thing. Look at that smile, how wretched. The weasel has no good intentions in wishing the chicken a New Year greeting. Uncle G squinted his eyes, and immediately became alert. While speaking, his eyes suddenly became extremely sharp, his thoughts were full of thoughts, his expression changed, everything was silent. This wave of feelings is in place, and I understand it naturally. If you don't understand, you can only follow the complete silence. That's probably what happened. In terms of posture, it is true to be fully grasped. Uncle G made a gesture and wanted to go up and do a big job. Do not impulse. It's not that far yet. Although the Cao Teng has always acted like a villain, there seems to be no one else who can make him show such a flattering attitude except the Pope. Based on what I know about him, this time he came here sincerely to curry favor. Although I don't know its final purpose, but the current behavior is quite real. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, narrowed his eyes, and then a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. While speaking, thoughts rushed, and the smiles on his face grew more and more. Interesting, really interesting. Who is more interesting in this? Ha ha ha. Heroes are born as teenagers. Brother Shui. I also just heard that student Fang Fan is about to lead scouts out to investigate the enemy's situation. Don't be afraid of hardships and dangers, and attack in an all-round way. This trip, the sun and the moon will shine. With this heroic boy, why worry about my light camp failing? Guangming Academy can cultivate such high-quality students, which is an example. The Guangming Academy also contributed a lot. Student Fang Fan is even more chivalrous. I am very honored that such a proud son of heaven can be born in my city of light. The many spirits and deeds of Fang Fan's students made me deeply moved. Student Fang Fan has any requirements, just ask, and I will fully satisfy them. Student Fang Fan has a unique vision, and what he thinks is also a major issue in maintaining the overall situation. I can't think of that level, but it would be great if I could provide some security work for Fang Fan's students. If I am very willing to do it. There is no doubt about this. Student Fang Fan. Cao Teng's mouth, a deceitful ghost. This small mouth is Baba, what he said is so touching. Anyway, start from all aspects, and then praise you in an all-round way. For a moment, it directly confused you. What the hell? As for making it so exaggerated? Talk about it, it's nothing. The sense of bells and whistles is being fully superimposed. For a while, I just followed. Fang Fan stood where he was, with a look of lovelessness on his face. Are you from Quigwagod? Can you boast so much? A little trivial matter can be praised to the sky by you. What kind of trick is this? Want to make others feel proud, and then just die laughing? The people at the Guangming Academy looked at each other in blank dismay. They couldn't understand this routine. As far as Fang Fan is concerned, he is indeed not in such a hurry on this matter. As far as he is concerned, none of this has much to do with him. Now I want to end it quickly. He is too lazy to continue talking about what is there and what is not. We should know what is going on in our hearts. You can't just say nothing and don't care, that's it? It's useless. Fang Fan felt like dozing off when he heard this. That's it? No problem. Right. My lord, I'm going out to investigate. While talking, Fang Fan nodded solemnly and said. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that he is already very disgusted. Can't this shitty thing end quickly? I just have to get involved in this matter. For a while, Fang Fan immediately went numb. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3639. Ha. Cough. I just expressed my excitement, and for a while I forgot the time and the rhythm. It's all my fault. But the heart of my fist, the sun and the moon can learn from each other. If it weren't for that, I would never have said so much. I hope little friend Fang Fan can succeed in no time. In addition, while performing tasks, we must also maintain our own safety as much as possible. This is the most important thing. The slightest damage to a talented person like Fang Fan will be a huge loss to the Temple of the Alliance of Light and even the entire Camp of Light. Even if the Bronze Legion with a size of 1 million people is compared with Fang Fan's little friend, it is incomparable. Cao Tang, the Lord of Guangming God City, continued to nod his head solemnly. Talking nonsense, I am afraid that even he himself believes these nonsense. Fang Fan's face was numb. The city lord probably took the wrong medicine today. This gaudy mess has been made wave after wave. It's hard for Fang Fan not to be numb at the moment. Just staring at it, my brain hurts. Fang Fan breathed out a turbid breath. At this moment, he was full of thoughts and his expression was unpredictable. A sense of bells and whistles, full of gathering. That's it? Just look at it like this. The city lord Cao Tang talked a lot more before leaving reluctantly. While walking, looking at Fang Fan still has a unique style in his eyes. Fang Fan couldn't help but get goosebumps all over his body. Can it still work? This sense of rhythm, a little control in place. You're doing it like a headache. What happened to this guy today? Haven't you always been cold-eyed in the past? Could it be that there is some conspiracy against us? Good guy, this wave has to be stable, and you can't be fooled by him. Fang Fan boy, you must be steady. Bai Piao shook his head, but he was also a little uncertain. When things go wrong, there must be a demon. Could it be that this guy wants to come here to collect information? I want to see when my apprentice will leave the Yuanxi God City. If that's the case, it's better to catch them all in one go. No. I'm going to stare at him. You can't let him make any small noises. Tai Shiji squinted his eyes, and his expression changed in an instant, and his gestures were about to be put into action. Everyone calm down. Things are not as bad as you think. Although the CAO-10 is not quite right, it is not incomprehensible. Actually, to put it bluntly, it's probably just that Wangtu was punished by God when he targeted Fang Fan just now, so he felt that Fang Fan was blessed by the real God behind him, so he came here in advance to ease the relationship. This guy is best at these research methods. Humph. I didn't expect this guy to bring this bad habit here. A sneer followed, and there was no need to say anything else. As long as you stabilize in all directions, you can settle for the moment. Shui Wanren and the city lord Cao Teng had obviously known each other for a longer period of time. Therefore, one should have a deeper understanding of his routines. Get rid of all those messy things. Now is the time to leave Yuanqi Divine City to investigate the Protoss intelligence. After delaying for so long, it was all useless work. Fang Fan shook his head and couldn't help but sighed softly. What is this all about? A mess of waves. Just looking at it gives me a headache. At this time, 100 elite scouts were also sent over. With the lessons learned from the past, this time CAOG naturally did not dare to continue to do anything wrong with this matter, and the ones sent over this time were all really elite scouts. The cultivation bases are basically above the 5-star sanctuary realm. The elite scouts are, all here. You, have a look. If you're sure there's no problem, I'll go first. CAOG stood far away, only daring to speak in the air. At this moment, he couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and his eyes seemed a little wandering. There are many thoughts, and the expression changes are particularly sincere. Thoughts gather, messy thoughts gather in the mind, and the mind gradually diverges in an all-round way. Slowly, with some unique thoughts and ideas. Among all the people, CAOG was most afraid of Tai Shuji. Tai Shuji glanced over. This guy can throw himself on the ground in horror. I am leaving. Since everything is prepared, there will be no problem. I'll go out and have a look first. Fang Fan licked his lips, his eyes couldn't help flickering with a different kind of brilliance, and he felt quite looking forward to it at this moment. When going out of the city, be careful, go off the beaten path, and try not to reveal your whereabouts as much as possible. Those who went with him were naturally those around Fang Fan. The 10 legions, 6 heroes, and Chu Sisi will also follow. As the logistics officer, Bai Piao took the initiative to ask to come over this time. He had already figured out Fang Fan's thoughts thoroughly. This time it seems to be to inquire about the information of the Protoss, but in fact it is to seize the warehouse of the Protoss city. I am more or less excited at the moment. I don't know what good things are in the warehouse of the Protoss. Wouldn't the whole room be full of godstone fragments? Gudong. Or the fountain of life that stores storage rings one after another. There are other kinds of treasures. This Protoss is really rich. Hey, leaning against this sacred soil, it's different. Boy Fang Fan, this time our harvest may be doubled again and even reach the top directly. Wipe. That's really cool. One wave, it's so cool. Take off. Take off in full swing. It's so exciting. Bai Piao muttered, while talking, the brilliance in his eyes kept flickering. The more I talk, the more excited I get, the more I talk, the more surging. Thousands of thoughts rush. A wave is directly exploding. Fang Fan at this moment is not as big-hearted as Bai Piao. The warehouse of the Protoss city is not something that can be entered casually. On the way, you will encounter many dangers. If you are not careful, you may have to give away your own life directly. This is not alarmist talk. In every aspect, there are endless risks. And sometimes risks come from all sides. Not only from the enemy, but also from oneself. Fang Fan carefully looked at the 100 elite scouts behind him, with a look of suspicion on his face. Can these people work? Is it useful? Do you feel free to use it? They were sent by Wang Tu and Caog. These two people hated Fang Fan to the bone, wishing to devour Fang Fan's flesh and blood. In other words, these two guys are clearly Fang Fan's enemies. And if it is an enemy, it will naturally keep a hand. At that time, the danger will manifest itself. And to be honest, although this group of scouts were elite divisions, Fang Fan didn't pay much attention to their combat power. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3640. To put it bluntly, there is not a single saint in it. The existence of the 5-star and 6-star sanctuary realm is actually of little significance on the real battlefield. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, full of thoughts. The more he thought at the moment, the more his eyes became more serious. What I have to do now is to solve my worries. The first thought that came to Fang Fan's mind was to kill all the 100 scouts. But the thought was fleeting. Because Fang Fan only doubted their special identities, not affirmed them. Fang Fan licked his lips, thinking to himself, his mind was gradually fully opened. Go back. Too many people are not beneficial to our stealth. Go back for now and wait for the order. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then spoke directly. Things, after all, have to be made clear. When the 100 elite scouts heard Fang Fan's words, they looked at each other in blank dismay, a little confused. Boss, Lord Saint's order is for us to follow you to investigate the enemy's situation. If we go back now, Lord Saint will not let us go. Leader Fang Fan, let us follow. That's right, Chief Fang Fan, we can't leave now. Boss Fang Fan, if you tell us to go back now, then, you are forcing us to be killed. Leader Fang Fan. Swear to follow Fang Fan's leadership. The bloody battle to the end. The yelling continued, one by one, as if they were all loyal. Emotions are in place in an instant. If 3 or 5 people said that, Fang Fan could still understand. After all, there will always be those heroic soldiers who are desperate to serve the country with all their heart. But if everyone's ideological level is so high, is there a problem? This aspect looks weird and inexplicable. It seems to be the same as a special arrangement. Among them, there must be various crises. Now Fang Fan can basically be sure that these people must have received orders from the Saint Wang disciple or Caog before leaving. It's clearly uneasy. If they leave Fang Fan now, their mission may not be able to carry out. Snort. Let's show the cards. Isn't the order you received just to kill me? How? Caog has already recruited, and you are still here to die. If this is the case, then we can only kill you all. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, waved his hand while speaking, and the top 10 legions under his command moved upon hearing the news, and immediately surrounded the elite scout team with a size of 100. For a while, it looked like a sandwich biscuit, and it felt different when I looked at it. This wave is basically in place. The rest, of course, needless to say. When Fang Fan had a direct showdown, the expressions of the 100 scouts suddenly changed drastically. At this moment, their eyeballs rolled wildly, and their expressions seemed very strange. Obviously, there are ghosts in the heart. We're not. Boss Fang Fan, you can't wrong a good person. Yes, we don't have this idea at all. We just want to complete the task as soon as possible and return home as soon as possible. Boss Fang Fan, you can't belittle us like this for your own self-interest. Not to accept. Not to accept. We are not to accept. Boss Fang Fan, please return our innocence. Yes. We want to be innocent. The yelling gradually became louder. The scene seemed a little awkward for a while. Fang Fan was full of thoughts, and his expression also changed silently. They are all millennium-old foxes, Why are they still playing Liazai? With this little routine, do you really think that no one else knows? Just too lazy to say it? One by one, I really thought that I was hiding well. Oh. Oh well. Originally, if you were sent by Saint Wang or Caog, for the sake of Lord Saint, you could still survive. Since you are not, then you can only kill. Tisk. It's a burden to keep it anyway. Fang Fan shrugged, then said calmly. Just so confident. Swipe. As soon as Fang Fan said a word, the sound of the trembling of the weapon resounded immediately. Immediately following the surrounding area, flashes of unique silver light flashed one after another. In no time, it's time to do it. The powerful coercion swept over in an instant, and for a while, it made people's mind collapse. These scouts are not fools. It is natural to know that resistance is useless. I'm afraid I will be killed instantly. If there is no showdown now, when will it be? Is it possible to wait for a while to be killed before you can understand it in your mind? No. Impossible. At the moment, naturally, you have to be steady, don't waver, absolutely don't waver. I was wrong. Boss Fang Fan, we can't help it. Caog has the military orders of Lord Saint, and we can only obey. Yes, Chief Fang Fan, we all have our own difficulties. Boss Fang Fan, we didn't mean to. Boss Fang Fan, please be sure to trust us. Leader Fang Fan. For a while, the yelling continued. The tremors deep inside were all in place. At this moment, his lips were trembling, and he didn't know how to express the anxiety in his heart. Thousands of thoughts, eyes flickering, corners of the mouth twitching, fear in the heart. Compared with death, it seems disobedience is nothing. Fang Fan fell silent. Really? This is not much different from what he expected. Saint Wang, Caog. These two guys are really desperate. Time and time again, just doing these moths. There's a lot of bells and whistles. Keep going? Continue to adjust? Death to the extreme. All of a sudden, the feeling of oppression came across the board. Now, you only have two paths. Either go back and reply as I said. Or, I will kill you here, and say that the gods attacked and killed you. How to choose, you can choose for yourself. Fang Fan shrugged his shoulders, and while he was talking, his eyes followed up, and a wicked smile gradually appeared on the corner of his mouth. This wave is fully displayed, and everyone who understands it understands it. This kind of multiple choice question is actually the best to do. Basically nothing else involved. I would like to go back. Follow the orders of Chief Fang Fan. Me too, I would also like to go back. I'll go back too. All the scouts looked at each other, and then quickly expressed their thoughts. At this moment, what else is there to say? Hurry up and deal with the matter, so as not to end up complaining. Difficult, too difficult. At this moment, his face was mournful, and the corners of his mouth trembled violently. Swallowing saliva frantically, the frightened color in his eyes gathered in an all-round way. Crouching his neck crazily, he could only express the helplessness and anxiety in his heart. The uneasy state of mind is oppressively fragmented. The matter of the scouts was basically settled. The sky is high for birds to fly, and the sea is wide for fish to leap. In the future, you can do whatever you want.